Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, a police officer placed on administrative leave as a police brutality investigation is launched. COVID-19 cases decline on Abaco as that island is still under strict curfew. The family of a man missing in a plane crash still holding on to hope. Plus, it's still flu season. Why doctors say you should get an annual flu shot. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has launched an investigation into an alleged police brutality incident recorded on a voice note that went viral overnight. Jasmine Brown reports.
Of course there is.
The National Security Minister was quick to insist that a full-scale investigation has been launched into the disturbing 4-minute and 39-second voice note. He told reporters outside Cabinet that when he learned of it, he called for the matter to be looked into immediately.
That matter is in hand and will be addressed as soon as possible to determine exactly what it all means. And I'm not going to preempt anything Commissioner does. That is under his remit, and we had a good conversation today, and I am confident that he will do whatever is necessary as he commences investigations.
The investigation follows the release of this voice note in which a man who identified himself as a senior police officer reportedly assaulted an individual.
He crying now. Tear him up, man.
Put your hands down. Look at me. Look at me.
There you go. That's what you need.
Don't mess me up, man. Don't mess me up with nobody else. See this boy shit? Don't mess me up. You hear me? I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Sit your down.
Throughout the recording, another individual can be heard inquiring about the charges against him. Someone else can be heard bragging about beating drug dealers. As the alleged beating took place, another man, also believed to be an officer, encouraged it. It is unclear from the voice note what prompted the confrontation. Dame says the verdict is still out on the alleged incident in the voice note. The minister sending this warning to law enforcement officers.
This is the world that we're living in, and everything is under the microscope. And so it's incumbent upon public officers to conduct themselves accordingly.
Now, the National Security Minister says there are simply some details that he cannot give, like how many people are involved in that investigation. However, he says the matter will be investigated thoroughly. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And a police officer has been placed on administrative leave as Police Commissioner Paul Roll says an investigation is underway. Kyle Joaquin has that.
I have taken course of action. The officer involved, the complaint unit, is conducting the investigations into that matter, and the officer has been placed on administrative leave.
Police Commissioner Paul Roll says due process will be followed with the investigation into the voice note, in which a man claiming to be a senior police officer reportedly hits another man. In the voice note, another officer can be heard bragging and laughing about the alleged abuse. But Roll says for him, this is no laughing matter.
I don't support that type of behavior by no officer on the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I think it is fair to say that I have been doing a whole lot to improve the image of this organization. I'm going to continue to do that.
The recording once again bringing to light the issue of police brutality. For years, men accused of certain crimes have complained about being beaten while questioned. Roll says it's something he doesn't tolerate.
There are certain provisions in the Constitution which guarantees certain things when individuals are arrested. We have posted them in all of the stations, and I say on a regular basis to officers, you must have respect for individual human rights, and persons who are in our custody, they are our responsibility. And it's our responsibility to ensure that they are taken care of. You deviate from that, you're not going to have my support.
Then there's the concern over police-involved shootings and claims of excessive force. Anglican MP Gladys Hannah-Martin has already called for more body and dash cam footage to be released in these instances.
All of the matters that involve police shootings go before coroners court and persons who are involved have an opportunity to come and testify.
Meanwhile, Roll didn't go into much detail about the voice recording, but said each officer is his own man and must take account for himself. Again, Roll says that officer in question has been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of that investigation. But for now, reporting for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
In other news, it's too early to say whether restrictions on Abaco will be relaxed or not. Bethany McDermott tells us who said it and why.
After nearly 2 weeks of increased restrictions, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pearl McMillan says health officials have yet to determine if restrictions on Abaco will be relaxed or not. Her comments come as the Ministry of Health surveillance team went to that island Tuesday to assess the situation.
There are still cases occurring. So, as it relates to whether or not that restriction will be removed, we will have to see, what exactly comes out of the visit down and see how the cases continue to either decrease or go to zero.
Abaco's curfew was tightened on February 25th and required travelers leaving mainland Abaco to obtain a negative COVID-19 RT-PCR test. The restrictions were introduced following an uptick in confirmed cases on that island, a move the Prime Minister said would last for 2 weeks. Dr. McMillan says she feels things are looking up.
A review of exactly what is happening will give us the better opportunity to make recommendations with respect to next steps.
According to the Ministry of Health, since the restrictions took effect, Abaco recorded a total of 10 confirmed cases. The highest number of daily cases recorded was 5 on March 3rd.
The numbers, I think they have remained steady.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
This comes as the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines is set to arrive in Nassau tomorrow. RTV will have live coverage beginning at 11:30 a.m. only on RTV and streaming live on Facebook. Well, the Princess Margaret Hospital today receiving upgrades from the U.S. Embassy and the Bahamas Red Cross. The donation includes a bio-fire torch, multiplex PCR technology to PMH's laboratory services for state-of-the-art COVID-19 testing. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pearl McMillan says it will further improve the country's COVID-19 testing platform.
With this technology, panel results can be available within 45 minutes. From time on to time off the machine. The use of the BioFire torch will enhance the critical work of COVID-19 testing, as well as upgrade the lab's capacities for other viral diagnostic testing.
The U.S. Chargé d'Affaires says the machine comes at a cost of $80,000.
I think it's important also to note that this machine will be useful to Princess Margaret Hospital after we get through this thing. It will diagnose a multitude of lower respiratory tract infections, so it have long-term, will provide long-term benefit to this hospital as well.
Bahamas Red Cross Society President Therese Carey says this is just one aspect of the COVID-19 project.
Additional support to the public health under this project includes an upgrade to laundry services within the Princess Margaret Hospital through the procurement of an ironing and folding machine. 18 Motorola radios for ambulance correspondence has also been acquired.
Well, temperatures barely getting into the mid-70s today. Greg Thompson has the latest over in the Weather Center.
Thanks, Christina. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. Breezy conditions continuing outside our studios under partly cloudy skies. Temperatures are near the 70-degree mark. A little cool with the winds picking up out there. 16 knots out of the east-northeast. Your feels-like temperature in the upper 60s. Satellite view around the area. High pressure still in charge, bringing some of that Atlantic moisture across areas. Some cloudy conditions occurring across the northwest Bahamas. Frontal boundaries still weakening across the southeast Bahamas. We could see some isolated showers with that system towards the southeast over the next day or so. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, the search continues for 2 men after a plane crash, and police hit the streets. We'll tell you more when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
The brother of a man who's missing after the plane he was on crashed near Ackland is holding on to hope that he will be found alive. Jared Higgs has more details.
We feel that they're alive. They're just out there.
The family of 45-year-old Stephen Sawyer is holding on to hope that he and the pilot of the plane he was traveling on will be found alive.
The quicker we get to them, the better it is because, all the elements, and then, they get dehydrated and all that stuff, so you need to find them.
The men took off from New Providence at around 7 a.m. on Friday morning. Sawyer's brother, 65-year-old Charles Sawyer, says the pair were en route to Inagua, then on to the Dominican Republic, where Sawyer owns a cigar factory. Flight tracking data shows the plane at 7,600 feet, and as it nears Ackland, a descent is picked up near its last known position. The last communication from the plane was shortly after 9 a.m. Around the same time, Sawyer's girlfriend tried to WhatsApp him, but only got one tick.
We got a time frame. By Friday, we need to get it because that'll be a full week. And, you can go without food and water for a few days. But when the elements and all those things are factored in, come on, man, there's only so much the body can take.
Defense Force officials have searched unsuccessfully since then for the men. Poor weather over the weekend has hindered their efforts. The worried man described his brother as jovial and likable and says there are tough moments.
I try to stay busy so that I don't get bogged down because life has to go on.
Sawyer's family are heading to Acklands tomorrow. They think that the best chance of finding him alive is getting on the ground and dealing with the locals who know the area best. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Thanks, Jared. Well, police hit the streets in communities around the country today, part of the Royal Bahamas Police Force's national walkabout during Police Month. Our News caught up with Police Commissioner Paul Roll walking through Mason's Addition.
We have our officers do it on a regular basis, but every now and again I get out and do it as well. So if any issue, you just give us a little ring.
I feel okay, to see him in the community. It's nice to have the police in the community because a lot of things happen in the community, especially after hours.
Roll says police are working on building a stronger relationship with the residents they serve and protect.
And I really want the people to appreciate their police and know for sure, because what I'm asking them is, are you seeing the police officers? You heard what they said? Yes. That is a testament that they are complying with the wishes of the commissioner and every day going into these communities and interacting.
It was the same over on Grand Bahama, where officers shared tips on how to keep homes and businesses safe.
I commend you for the initiative that you would have put in place.
Yeah, and I commend the police officers as well, because even when I called, they were here within 5 minutes, even though it was so locked down.
When Our News comes back from the break, a spike in the number of students being homeschooled, and a Bahamian coach wins big. The details when Our News returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News. Welcome back. More and more parents are choosing to homeschool their kids in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Education Minister Jeff Lloyd telling reporters outside Cabinet that the teaching technique is growing in popularity.
More and more parents are registering for any number of reasons. I'm sure you can calculate what they may be for homeschool. And what we have also found is a new creature in education. It is called home-based schooling.
Face-to-face classes resumed in public schools on Abaco, Eleuthera, Exuma, and New Providence last month. Many of the schools have transitioned from online learning to a hybrid system. Still, Lloyd says some parents are opting to keep their kids out of the classroom.
When I came to office in 2017, there were approximately some 500 or so students registered for homeschooling. Today, that number is approaching 3,000. So it only shows you that more and more parents feel that the traditional schooling does not meet the aspirations of them, their child, or their family.
Lloyd also commending parents for going the extra mile to ensure their children get a proper education. Well, from promoting body positivity to encouraging girls to go after unorthodox jobs, the Grand Bahama Soccer Club is celebrating Women's Month. Here's Jillian Gray with Women in Leadership.
I choose to challenge lack of women in positions of power.
Respect to caregivers.
Equal pay.
Equal opportunities.
Stereotypes.
Respect for working mothers.
Gender bias.
The Grand Bahama Soccer Club is celebrating Girls Soccer and Women's Month by igniting a fire in their players to #ChooseToChallenge. Electrical engineer Simone Stubbs says working in a male-dominated field is tough, with gender bias a constant shadow over her.
My message is to girls, if you have a dream, set your goals, but you have to put in the work to get there.
The league focuses on girls and women of all ages and at one time boasted membership of more than 350 participants. President of the Grand Bahama Soccer Club, Mary Woodside Knowles, says the league is not only promoting girl and women in soccer, but also advocating for scholarships and teaching girls how to deal with social pressures with positive role models.
So it's all about being comfortable in your own skin. So it's, we need a lot of powerful women to come and talk to these girls and say it doesn't matter what color your skin is or what your home looks like, you're still special.
The message was clear. Girls can do anything they put their minds to.
We're trying to show the girls here today that they can do anything that a man can do, and the sky is no longer the limit for them.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
And another major achievement for a Bahamian coach on the international scene. Marcellus Hall tells us more.
All right, thanks a lot and welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. It's always a pleasure to be able to highlight Bahamians when they're doing great things, either locally or on the international scene. In this case, we're talking about a track and field coach, Rolando Green, who just recently receiving top honors in track and field. The list of Bahamians continues to grow as recognition of international coaching prowess continues to grow. The latest being Kentucky Wildcats Athletics Program coach Bahamian Rolando Lonnie Green, who was recently named the Women's Team Coach of the Year for the Southeast region for the indoor season. Coming off a COVID-19 interrupted season, he has meanwhile stood out as his University of Kentucky Wildcats had the top ranking in the Southeast region, comprising 35 Division I schools in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Kentucky. Coach Green talking about the honor.
To know that the peer groups, the people that you work with, people that you see and you compete against, deem the body of your work to be something worthy, like this, to vote you to be that person. It's always an honor. When you get honors like this and as you get older, you start to think of the legacy that you. So at the end of the day, it is truly an honor. I'm blessed, to be deemed that guy for the indoor season in 2021.
And that's a look at sports for you here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you. It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When our news comes back from the break, Greg Thompson has the outlook on these cool conditions and it sleeves up for the flu shot. The details after this.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. Just how long will this cool down last? Greg has the answer over in the Weather Center.
Thanks again, Christina, and a happy Tuesday evening, everybody. Satellite view around the area. High pressure remains in charge of our weather, generating some very strong winds, resulting in some hazardous beaching and boating conditions. Frontal boundary hanging out near the southeast Bahamas could produce a couple isolated showers over that area as it meanders across the southeastern islands, but that high will remain in charge of our weather within the next several days, producing very hazardous beaching and boating conditions for us here around the islands. Speaking of your boating conditions, we're asking you boaters to remain in port tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the northeast to east, 20 to 25 knots. Seas very rough, 7 to 10 feet, but they will be up to 12 feet in some large northeasterly swells. Your low tide will be at 11:11 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Sunday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a great Tuesday night, everybody. Christina?
Thanks, Greg. Every year, the seasonal flu impacts hundreds, if not thousands of Bahamians. However, doctors say getting the flu shot helps to reduce the severity of symptoms if you do contract the illness. The flu vaccine is offered free of charge at public clinics across the country before and during flu season.
Not every cough, not every fever, not every bit of shortness of breath is COVID. And so influenza is still out there. And so certainly we recommend that people get their flu shots on an annual basis.
Our news caught up with former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands at his Hawkins Hill office a few weeks ago. Have you gotten your flu shot?
I haven't gotten mine yet, but I am going to get mine because we've just gotten the stock.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pearl McMillan tells our news that the flu shot is recommended every year.
Every year I avail myself as soon as it's in country, and I recommend it strongly for persons who are at highest risk.
The first batch of COVID-19 vaccines is set to arrive in country tomorrow afternoon, and the rollout is expected to begin soon after. Dr. Sands says given the COVID-19 variants, the vaccine may become an annual shot, similar to that for the seasonal flu.
What will likely happen with COVID is that the vaccines will be modified on a regular basis. Whether it'll be an annual basis, it's difficult to tell. Already, because of the variants, Moderna and other companies are talking about modifying the formula. So flu shots change every single year, and that's why you need one every year. So there you go. So let's see you get yours.
Well, there's no time like the present, so Dr. Sands and I both sat down to get our flu shots. More never-before-seen interviews are ahead on our news this week, leading up to the premiere of The Breakdown, an RTV special on the one-year anniversary of the first COVID-19 case in the Bahamas. The Breakdown airs March 15th at 8 p.m. Meanwhile, RTV presents live coverage of the arrival of the first COVID-19 vaccines in the Bahamas beginning 11:30 tomorrow morning, only on RTV and streaming live on Facebook. Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.